JBNN will keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and to share the news with someone today. Now onto the news. Jamaica rocked by another mass shooting at a party. Jamaica is reeling once again after a horrific mass shooting during a party in Bethel Town, Westmoreland, that left 4 people dead and 4 others injured. The incident unfolded around 10:20 p.m. on Monday at a bar located on New Road. According to police reports, a black Toyota Fielder motor car pulled up to the venue and 4 armed men exited before opening fire indiscriminately into the crowd. The police were alerted and all 4 people were transported to hospital, but tragically, 4 men were pronounced dead upon arrival. The deceased have been identified as 41-year-old Tyler, Damian Baker, Odain Scott, known as Moses, and Rocky Lawrence, all from the community. The 4th deceased is a man known as Future Arpa. Also from New Road. The police say he was one of the gunmen and was killed by his cronies. 2 female bartenders of St. Catherine addresses and the 2 male patrons from New Road were admitted in hospital in serious condition. According to a source, Future accidentally shot a friend during the melee, leading to a moment of shock. His accomplices reportedly shot him as they fled the scene. Following the shooting, Future was found inside the bar with a bullet wound to the back of his head. The other gunman escaped in the car in the direction of Bethel Town. The police said the deceased gunman was clad in a sweat jacket and pullover. He also had gloves on both hands and had 8 live .45 cartridges in his pocket. The police have launched an investigation and are currently seeking information from the public. This tragic event follows a similar incident in August when gunmen killed 8 people and injured 9 others at a party in Cherry Tree Lane, Clarendon. Dunkirk residents rubbish police's claim of shootout. Residents of Bryden Street in Dunkirk, Kingston, are rebuffing claims by the police that a resident who was killed during an alleged firefight on Monday afternoon had engaged the security forces in a shootout. That is Tawada Welsh, a resident of the Tough East Kingston community. The Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom has commenced a probe into the police fatal shooting. At the same time, residents are crying foul, labeling the policemen involved in the incident as cold-blooded murderers. A man who said the deceased man was his friend said that he carried Welsh into the Elliston Road Criminal Investigation Branch last Friday, September 27. Me carry him in last week Friday Elliston Road CIB, and the detective them said they don't want him and release him. Not even 2 hours with the station. Me not like them killing there. I saw no one come out here and kill anybody and get away with it until I see a shootout, the irate resident said. A woman said that before Welsh was shot, he had been speaking with police personnel. A gangster thing them a deal with. The youths of the police vehicle come down the road. Him dep on him phone and him not pay them no mind. The policeman said to him, "Squaddy, Atawado, you afraid to kill him?" The resident alleged, claiming explosions were heard shortly after. The residents accused the police team of gross unprofessionalism. When them done, them same man jumping at the police van and a fire peer shot. When the man done dead already, that had the gun them a go plant pan him, same fire shot. If them they really catch him with a gun, you still wouldn't have to kill him, but we wouldn't have any argument because it's illegal, a resident said. At the scene yesterday, the residents' emotions were running wild, with many screaming at the police saying, "Una wicked, una murderer." Checks revealed that Welsh was recently released after serving time in prison. It was also said to be very influential in Dunkirk and West Kingston. Up to this afternoon, the police had not released an official report on the incident. The community of Dunkirk has been engulfed in a turf war between criminal gangs for several years, resulting in shootings, murders, and the displacement of residents. According to Indicom, as at September 19, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has handed down rulings for charging 22 cases investigated by the watchdog entity. The cases involve members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Jamaica Defence Force, and the Department of Correctional Services. The most recent matter to go before the court involves a policeman who was charged with the 2023 fatal shooting of a man on Harbour Street in Falmouth, Trelawney. Constable Junior Howlett was offered bail in the sum of $900,000 when he made his first appearance in the Trelawney Parish Court last Friday. He is to return to court on October 16. Reports are that on November 4, 2023, Howlett and the 25-year-old had all got into an altercation in the vicinity of a nightclub. It is alleged that the policeman discharged his firearm. No gun was retrieved from the deceased after the incident. Fire protests out west as residents called for road repairs. Taxi operators and residents in Glasgow, Westmoreland, and Kendall, Hanover blocked the shared main road to vent their frustration with the delay in the start of rehabilitation work. Debris was set on fire and placed across the pothole-riddled thoroughfare, preventing access for several hours. Following a 3-day protest along another section of the road in September last year, the National Works Agency, NWA, said based on the unavailability of funds, the road will have to be fixed in stages. In the first phase, patching was carried out along the worst affected areas from Grangeville to Kingsvale. The NWA also indicated that it was preparing a contract to begin work from Peggy Barry to Glasgow. Morland Wilson, Member of Parliament for Westmoreland Western, is questioning the delay in assigning a contractor for the project.
I'm going to use this opportunity to call on NWA to conduct repairs on this road. We have seen where funds was allocated some 24 months ago by the Honourable Minister for this roadway to be repaired, and we haven't heard anything from the NWA. This piece of roadway has been stuck in procurement for some time, and I'm calling on NWA to speed up the process. The people are frustrated. We have seen where last year around this time where there was a massive protest in Westmoreland Western for the same piece of roadway where people are demanding the roads to be fixed. I'm going to ask NWA to get with it. We have seen where procurement is taking too long.
Numbers used to identify soldiers after Keith Clark's shooting death. Former Head of Legal Affairs at the Jamaica Defence Force, JDF, Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Cole, on Monday said that based on no statements were prepared, there was no definitive way of identifying soldiers involved in the shooting death of accountant Keith Clark at his home in St. Andrew on May 27, 2010. Cole was giving testimony in the Home Circuit Court, where 3 soldiers are on trial for the murder of Clark. On trial are Lance Corporals Greg Tickling and Odell Buckley, as well as Private Arnold Henry. According to Cole, in written statements that he had signed and submitted to the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, and the police, only numbers were used to identify the soldiers as opposed to names. But Cole told the court that the report was done by officers of lower ranks, which he later signed. He said he did not verify where exactly the numbers were attached to, saying that he wanted to sign it quickly so that it could be sent off to the relevant authorities. The numbers said to have been assigned to the 3 soldiers were 38, 42, and 44. I agree with you that I cannot assure this court and the jury present that these numbers are properly identified to the men in the dock. I think it was Buckley, Tingling, and Henry. I see some men in the dock, but I wouldn't want to tell who is who because it has been 14 years. The 3 soldiers gave statements. I gave instructions that a particular process that was developed in dealing with this type of matters should be allowed. The process was that instead of using their names in the statements, we would use numbers. The reason for that was that the press was being very intrusive and wanted to know the details of persons' identity. In addition, we wanted to ensure the soldiers felt comfortable in a safe place and that their identity would not be disclosed. So we arrived at some numbers which would have used before in a similar situation. The numbers were not assigned by me. The numbers were assigned by the persons who took the statements. I first saw a letter presented to me with certain numbers, and I signed that letter and sent it off to the persons who needed to get it. I did not verify the numbers. There was no time for me to verify. We needed to get the information to the persons who needed to get it as quickly as possible. If there were any issues that arose, we'll deal with it on a case-by-case basis, said the army man. Cole told the court that there were around 46 numbers that were assigned to soldiers who were on operation at Clark's house on the morning he was killed. Numbers were assigned starting with number 1 and continued after 44, and you never verify any of those numbers above 44. I was presented with the entire list of numbers, but the police officer concentrated, based on his instructions, on 3. About 46 numbers were on the list. It was the police officer who called my attention to the 3 numbers, Cole told the court. Keith Clark was killed during a police military operation at his 18 Kirkland Close home in Red Hills, St. Andrew. During the security forces' search for then fugitive Christopher Dodo Skoke, was believed to be hiding in the basement at Clark's house, along with 7 of his heavily armed cronies. Opposition MPs walk out of Parliament after no confidence motion against PM blocked. Members of the parliamentary opposition walked out of the House of Representatives on Tuesday afternoon after an attempt by opposition leader Mark Golding to table a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness was blocked by Deputy Speaker Roy Clark. The opposition sought to bring the no-confidence motion in light of the Integrity Commission's investigation report on Dr. Holness's statutory declarations.
Mr. Speaker, whereas there is a ministerial code of conduct in place from 2002 that governs the conduct of members of the cabinet, and whereas the Prime Minister did not inform the people of Jamaica that he was being investigated by the Integrity
please.
But I don't even need to hear another word. If the member in any way intends to go down a road that is, you can't understand if you don't listen. Permit yourself to use your ears and not your mouth. Permit yourself to use your ears and not only your mouth. If it is that the member intends to travel down a road that is going to breach the standing orders in raising matters, let me just say it before, that are sub judice. Hold on, I'm just telling you, that cannot be accommodated in this house. So if that is the route, if that is the intention, stop now.
Member, you start on a premise, and as far as the standing order is concerned, I hear the first part of where you're going, and section 20, public business, 22, sorry, notion of motion, amendment and manner of giving notice, section 3. If the speaker is of the opinion that any notice of a motion which has been received by the clerk infringe the provisions of any standing order in any way out of order, he may direct that the member concerned be informed that the notice of motion is out of order.
Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that the opposition, and I say this with all seriousness, because Jamaica is watching us. It is so unfortunate that the opposition has chosen to walk out on this issue. The opposition is led by an attorney at law who is fully aware that there is no ambiguity in the rule of sub judice. It is a rule that is essential in preventing interference in legal proceedings and preventing the risk of undermining the fairness of any trial or any matter that is before the court being adjudicated. But what will happen is that they will use it as a tool to attempt to cause persons looking on to think that there is an effort to block the motion. And that is what is unfortunate, the continuous effort to manipulate the minds of Jamaican people. And what I find disgusting is the discussions around integrity by persons who are willing to break down the integrity of this court proceedings for their own pursuit of power. In the pursuit of power, they are willing to breach, destroy, and cast away the rules, the standing orders, the law, anything that has to be done. Tear down people, mash up the country's reputation, all because of the pursuit of power. And we stand here in this honorable house, this high place, elected to serve the people. Not to carry them over a cliff. Not to manipulate their minds. And I can tell you right now that they're downstairs. I don't even have to look because you can know the patterns.
JBN keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.